morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. I am Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. Thank you for participating. This is the 30th episode of The Flow. Happy 30th episode. The Flow. Oh my goodness. 30 episodes. Wow. I tell you, I've got quite a few different segments going on, and they're all growing. And this particular one, I tell you, my friend Shadow Fox, she's a dear friend. And come rain, come shine, come whatever in the hell may be put before us, every single week, she is here. Every single week. Back in episode 2 or 3, her husband had surgery on his eyes. And from the hotel room, she showed up and still did the show. I tell you, if there was ever a topic for us to discuss today, inspiration, Shadow Fox has been that for me, an inspiration. Hello, Shadow Fox. Hello, Lee Two Hawks.
Hi. Oh, don't look at me for inspiration. Hi, everyone. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for saying that, Paul. That was very kind. Thank you.
And I had eye surgery, so I can't see you right now.
That was what, 30? Yeah, I think it was the second episode, actually.
Yes, second or third, somewhere along there. Yes.
Yeah, yep. So, how are you? What's going on? We're going to be talking about being inspired, when we're in the flow. When we're in
Yes.
the flow, we open ourselves really to inspiration, which is being in spirit. It is that information, it's that creativity, all of the above. So let's have fun. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
Talking about
Yes.
beauty, we were talking about Beauty and the Beast a little while ago. So
Which is it's an inspirational conversation,
yeah,
inspired by Lee and his guru awesomeness. And I know he does not claim to be a guru. I have put that upon him, as I put many a people upon pedestals because I am inspired by them. So I put them on pedestals. But I do not hold anybody to the pedestal I put them upon because I am the one that puts them there, not to themselves.
yeah, because
So
I'll tell you, both of us will just
I,
be falling off and jumping off, or I'll push him and he'll just go.
yes,
I'll
but
say
I
it.
have been pushing on my book lately, and I have been writing about anywhere from 6 to 12 hours a day in my book. And now that I'm back into it, and I realize everything that this book is going to bring on a multitude of levels, my inspiration is just so kicked in. I mean, I am writing, and writing. And tonight I'm going to be reading the first 3 chapters to you. And
Yep.
then tomorrow night, you and Diana are going to hear the next 3 chapters. So I am just, that for me is inspirational because now I get to share my work with people that are going to be honest and truthful. And I
Yep.
know some people might think, well, Paul, if they're going to critique you, how can that be inspirational?
Oh,
Well, if they're going to critique me, they're going to tell me what they find wrong. And then me, as someone who is accepting of critique, is going to go back and try to fix my story, and that will make it better.
yeah.
So that's why it's inspirational.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And again, the criticism is as long as it's constructive, and
Boom.
just because either say Diana or I give interject something in there doesn't mean you have to accept any of it. Here I am. I haven't even heard the story yet, so this is going to be fun. But
Yes, it is.
So, inspiration to me is a precursor to motivation. So, you may be a dullard just hanging around doing nothing, and you look up at the sun or you hear a bird chirp, when you realize that life is worth living. That's inspiration. And the motivation is to stop what you're doing, being a doer, and moving forward into maybe a very creative state of being.
Mhm. And so many people can find inspiration in so many different things. It could be,
Okay. Hold
you
on a
know,
second. You did something to your phone there, and you've altered the sound. Part of what Lee was said was choppy, and you're now kind of echoey.
me. I didn't touch. I didn't do anything.
Okay. All right. Now you sound better again.
Do I? Is it
Yeah.
better? Okay.
Yep.
Do 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 do.
Anyways, sorry. Go ahead. Continue. I apologize.
Yeah. No, I think. Should he restate what he said?
Um, if you could, yeah, go ahead, do that, just in case. If it was just on my end, then I missed part of it, and if it was on the audience's end also,
Okay.
they'll be able to hear it again, just to
He's
make
not going
sure.
to remember what he said.
Well, inspiration is to me a precursor to motivation.
Mhm.
So when you may be a doer, you may just be standing around looking at the world and say, "Oh, what's happening? What?" Oh, and then a bird chirps, or the sun shines, or a person smiles at you, and all of a sudden you are inspired to get out of that state of consciousness that you're in.
Yep.
It is a motivator to change your status as a human entity.
It was like this morning. We were both up very early. I think I was up at like 5:30, and it was still dark. And it was like, I put on a cup of coffee and went and sat out on the front porch, and you could hear the birds greeting the day. They sing, right? They sing to Creator, like it's beautiful. That was my inspiration
It's
for
just like
today.
when I hear her voice, it's like, ah, oh no.
It's gonna be pick on Shadow Fox day today. I'm telling you, they were in rare form earlier in the green room, so you
We've
never
been
know what they.
inspired. We've been
Yeah, yeah,
inspired.
yeah. I inspire them all right.
Yes. Now, you were mentioning the birds. If you follow my TikTok,
Yep.
you'll see I post a lot of videos with me walking my dog, and every morning I get up and I'm in pain when I get up, and I'm not always in the best of moods. But within the first 45 minutes to an hour of when I finally stand up and I am starting my day, I will be taking my pup out for her walk. And every single morning, I am greeted by hundreds. I am talking literally
Yeah.
hundreds of birds that are just chirping and singing. And oh my goodness, I tell you, it brightens my whole day. And I take her on that walk and I see the little bunny rabbits, and I see nature coming into bloom as we come into spring, where some of the cactuses have these beautiful, magnificent pink and purple and yellow flowers. I tell you, it puts me in a good mood for my whole day, you
So
know?
it
So
inspires you.
yes, absolutely. It
Yeah.
takes away all of the negativity that I have. Every morning that I wake up in negativity due to pain, and I am inspired to push that pain aside and enjoy my day.
Yep. Oh, and I'm glad you mentioned that because um, when I'm experiencing pain, physical pain in the body, um, many years ago actually, I had to take a look at that, and it was like I decided I did this on purpose, and I had gotten angry, not angry at myself, but angry at the situation, the pain that I was feeling, unable to move, so on and so forth. And I utilized that anger to motivation, which therefore created that inspiration to therefore not stay in those constructs of pain. So it's like the building blocks. A lot of times people that anger is a super negative emotion and everything else. Well, let me explain that. Sometimes anger, if we can focus it or direct it, we can be motivated to change those circumstances. And again,
Yes.
that is another format of inspiration. Yes, we're looking at the very low levels, okay, because here's pain. And when you're in pain and you can't see anything but red, but pain, you move, you breathe, you blink, and it's like every moment of every day, like second by second. It's not like you're going in, you had surgery, and for a couple of weeks or a couple of days you're sore. No, this is the pain I'm speaking about is like nerve pain, like a toothache
Right.
that never
Like
goes
what?
away. Every
Right.
single beat of your heart. So it can get very grating on you. And so in my own personal circumstances, that's what I had done. I had actually uh, totally too off. I can't handle this anymore. I have to. I'm going to get angry. I've got to bring the. I'm not angry at you or anybody else, but I have to dive deep into that. Think about it. You're sitting here, we're having a conversation. When people get angry, what do? They start yelling, right? They take a deep breath. They scream. They whatever it's coming out. That is energy that you're borrowing from the universe. You're bringing it in. Now, of course, it's nasty and negative and yada yada. But so what I did is I brought that in. Now, no, I didn't scream, I didn't holler, but I did get angry, and I utilized that to energize myself, to motivate myself to step in, and then inspiration started coming in, and I was able to open my mind a little bit more. Now, meditating, forget it. I couldn't meditate. The pain was so bad I couldn't meditate. Could not hold focus for 30 seconds. It was like, no. So, go ahead.
So I was inspired to. We had 3 steps up at that time to the house we were living
Hmm.
in, and I had to almost carry her up
Yep,
those 3 steps.
yep,
I almost. She was caught in the bathroom. She couldn't get up. I had to pick her up and carry her out.
yeah,
I even had to wipe her butt a couple times. But that's beside the point. Why was that? Was I inspired to do that? Is love inspiration?
ah,
This is a question we have to ask ourselves.
Yes.
Love inspiration or is anger? Those things are tools
yeah,
that we have, and we can use them in adverse situations,
mhm,
and we can use them against adversity or as a building mechanism to create our own universe.
yeah. And when you're speaking about love, when you love someone, you really find yourself doing things that normally you would have never thought to do. I'm not signing up for this or that or anything. And then all of a sudden, because that person requires assistance, you know, you step into that, and then here comes another form of motivation or inspiration simply because you're giving of yourself. And then there's other people that'll say, no, can't do that, just can't do it.
As an example of that, I had an episode of very bad PTSD, and a couple months ago, and she actually was inspired to assist me. She stayed with me for 24 hours at a hospital. She stayed with me. That was inspired. Myself, I could care less. I would just, kill me. I don't care.
Yeah. So when we're taking a look at those hmm, emotional aspects or the thought patterns when they could be negative, or we look at what's going around, out in the world, and it's nasty or horrible. This is how we're seeing it, right? um, Whether it be for what's going on with gun lobbying or this or that, it can feel and seem overwhelming. But where do these people get the inspiration to keep plugging away when everything, like, it's like sand, right? It's like we're not making any movement. We're not making any movement until all of a sudden it gets to a point and then there's a pivot, right? There's a pivot. And then perhaps there's other people that start thinking about things so that inspiration can be triggered in many different ways. We're just giving you some of the lowdowns, like the low.
Yeah, we'll get past that. Okay, understand this. Like, you're down and out after a work day. It's a tough day. You're walking down the street, and here comes a woman walking in the opposite direction with a 4-year-old child. And that 4-year-old child looks up at you and smiles because they don't know any better. You know, everybody's
They're
great.
being themselves.
Everybody's wonderful. And that smile from that 4-year-old child lifts up 9 hours of freaking heavy weight that you carried all day long.
Yep.
That's inspiration.
Yep. Yep.
Inspiration is a very, very valuable,
And
valuable.
it can come from words. It can come from music. It can come from nature. It can come from a
Art.
marvelous friend you have, or an art. Art. Rodin. I love Rodin. Till I found out he was not a good person. But you know, but Camille, his lover at the time, she was fantastic. She was a wonderful person. And if anybody ever has that video of that, look at it again.
You know who I find inspiring truly?
Pitt.
No,
What's his name? Pitt. What?
no,
Okay.
no. Who I find inspiring are those people who, like, just against adversity, right? It's like truly against adversity and they come out on top. Those are the ones that truly inspire me in, different formats.
This is a poem I wrote from. I'm not going to read it obviously, but it comes from probably decades ago. Those that are admired as features on TV, or champions of boxing, or champions of football or something, they're getting all the idolization.
Yeah.
To me, in that poem,
It's emptiness. That is.
to me, in that poem, is the fact that the people should be getting little medals on their chest. The ones that are fighting cancer, they're fighting grief, or they're not fighting but enduring that type of thing and moving still forward instead of dripping in the dread of what they've been through. Those are the people that deserve the awards, deserve the attention, deserve all the admiration we give to these freaking actors and football players, etc.
They're playing a game. I mean, that's a skill set. You know, I don't know. I just there's inspiration can come in many formats, but in my own personal life, I like the ones that carry great integrity, like Mandela. Okay, look at the adversity he faced, and then what did he end up doing?
Or Gandhi. Yeah.
Or Gandhi. Yeah. You know, those are those people as far as leaders go, and people who are, looking for control. Control's easy. The reason why is because you're not paying attention to who you are. Because if you have to control someone else, it means you have no control over yourself. So it's like,
All right, let's look at inspiration. What is inspiration? Break it down. Inspiration. So Asian is action. Action on the spire, or the building.
Spirit.
A spire of building, that pyramid that reaches to the heavens.
Yeah.
So to me, the word inspiration means all of that.
Yeah.
Bring yourself out of the gross and dire aspect of what we're in to a greater intention.
And it's like what Lee Tuox was saying. It's that spiraling up, right? I mean, that is sacred geometry. The spiral. What is it? I can't say the word. I shouldn't even have.
Because I don't know what you're trying to say.
No, it's the mathematical equation for the spiral.
I
Fibonacci.
Oh, you're talking about okay, the musical chording.
No, well, okay, never mind, guys. Sorry.
Yeah,
We'll just.
Neither one of us I recall.
I actually sent it to you, Paul. It's like I can't pronounce it.
I think it's
Anyway.
the Fibonacci.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Which is a different cordage of music that or tonality that he developed over time, which is less or a different frequency than what now is used in orchestras.
No, those are the.
So we have 440
Yeah.
now, as I believe it's an A,
Okay.
and that's what the leader plays first. Everybody's in tune, okay. Fibonacci is a little below that, and it's more melodic or more understanding.
Okay. I'm talking about the mathematical equation, guys. So, because in spirit or inspiration, this is that it's like the ladder going up, right? The spiral ladder. And each run you get closer and closer and closer, or I don't know. It's just the way I kind of view it. So,
what were we looking at? Jacob's ladder?
no.
I mean, there has to be a pathway.
Yeah.
If you want to call it a spiral,
Yeah.
if you want to call it a direct action,
Mhm.
there has to be a pathway that you are inspired to approach that brings you a different consciousness, a different awareness of where you are standing at the present. And that may simply be the smile of a 4-year-old child.
And another thing, and this is like that run of the ladder, perhaps, is like when we step in and we're being, say, altruistic, where we're giving something, nothing in return, we're just giving to give. And it's that feeling, there's no other feeling in the world like it. You really can't explain it, right? But you feel it and it feels good and it feels great. That to me is inspiration or inspirational. That because we can definitely put inspiration in and attach it to feelings, good, bad, or indifferent. Positive, negative, neutral. Any of those capacities, emotional components can fit together. But for me, I that there's really no words in the English language that can really fully embrace what that feeling actually means.
And here's what we have to understand also. So if somebody calls her and say, "What'd you do today?" She say, "Oh, I gave whatever to somebody." So that inspires that person to act in kind of what she achieved, to do something either equal or better or less. It doesn't matter. She gave $10. This person gives $5 or $15
Or 500
or 500. They were inspired.
5,000,000.
Yeah, yeah. Just by her gifting. That's an inspiration.
Like, what was that movie? Play It Forward.
Yeah, pay it forward. Yeah.
Wasn't that really? Have you
Helen
seen
Hunt.
that? Huh?
With Helen Hunt.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, playing it forward, and I think paying it forward, and I just think that inspiration, right? Somebody thought of
Yes.
that, they wrote it, became a movie, and wow, because inspiration can be contagious, just like the hiccups,
Yeah,
or sneeze, or yawn.
Every time I watch which I don't frequently because you can't find them anymore, Fetish Stare movie, I used to tap dance. I watched him, and I was so inspired because that's why I took tap dancing, is because of Fred Astaire. I was inspired to do so. I wasn't very good at it, but I did dance on stage with a sequined green vest doing Irish dance, but that's beside the point. But the fact is, there's inspiration just in that movement. There's an inspiration in like pay it forward that when something gives you something, you give it back without expectation of reward or anything. That's inspiring. That's inspiring. When the president stands up and says, "This shall be so," as did FDR in the 20s through 40s, and he led a country in a beautiful way and it caused different things. Why? Because he inspired the populace to back him. He inspired the legislature to back him. How did he do that? By approaching them in a manner in which they would be inspired. By approaching them in a manner of humanity. What is the human aspect of this?
You know, the one thing I can say about when we're looking at inspiration, or we're looking like what Lee Two Hawks was saying, and you have a individual, whether they're speaking and they're inspiring, and that inspirational talk, that motivational talk is for the betterment, right, of humanity in some way. Instead of tearing something down or breaking a system in some way, we can always kind of, well, let's a little hidden agendas in there. But when that happens, you'll notice that it's much longer lived, right? It builds upon itself. When you have, say, for instance, a speaker and they're in for death and destruction and so on and so forth. I'm sorry, I think I'll pull out Hitler. Don't mean to pick on Hitler, but think about that. For a short duration of time, right? But it ended. It stopped. He motivated people to commit some horrific things under his leadership. Those were his ideas, but guess what? In a sense, it has diminished. They can add new life to it somewhere, some breathe on the little umbers in there. But when you take a look and something comes from spirit, okay, not that ego, the human ego, the small ego, the little e, like we spoke about last week. When we look in that capacity, like Hitler, I'm sorry, he was functioning under the little e. He really was the little ego, that self-serving. This is my way. When we take a larger look at it and break things down, but he was a very pragmatic. He could speak. He could motivate. He was a great auditor. It's just sometimes you got to pay attention to what is the message. Because we can inspire people. Sorry, you're gonna have to talk. I'm coughing here.
Hey,
Yeah.
okay.
Thanks for picking up on it. I'm just sitting here acting.
Yeah, but you know how you dislike my interrupting you. So you're coughing. Okay, go ahead.
He just gave me inspiration. I'm gonna whack him one.
I'm a guacamole,
Inspiration can take on a multifaceted aspect.
No, she's not. No,
Yes,
I got bumps here. Iron Band.
They're gonna believe you. You stop.
No, inspiration can take on a multifaceted platform, and whether it's for good or for evil. Where in the case you were pointing out the evils of someone like Hitler, who committed a multitude of atrocities through inspiration.
Yep.
And the thing of it is that this brings me to the point of people who create inspiration versus those that are inspired by the natural creation
Yeah.
of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you always have to be leery of those that are trying to create that inspiration within you versus what I call inspiration of simple ignorance.
Jim
Now,
Jones.
no.
Okay.
The inspiration of simple ignorance.
Okay.
And with that is me walking my dog. The birds are chirping. It's simple ignorance. There is no knowledge of to why or what the why of things happening. It's just that it happens and it brings that joy. There's no thinking about it.
Right.
Okay, it's
Oh, like
without
quieting the mind. In
huh?
a sense. In a sense, was it like quieting the mind?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is where I'm coming at from this and all that is that you have to remember ignorance means without knowledge. Okay. So simply without knowledge, I'm walking outside, the birds are chirping, and I feel joy.
Yeah.
The simple ignorance of inspiration.
Okay.
The simple ignorance of inspiration. And the birds aren't out there to inspire me. They're just doing what they do. The flowers are not out there to inspire me. They are just doing what they do.
Yeah.
So, us having a conversation and doing what we just do, spreading love,
Yeah.
that's simple ignorance. Okay? When you reach inspiration from simple ignorance, you're going to find the most productive inspiration within yourself versus that forced inspiration. Somebody else trying to create something to be inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't try to be inspiring. I inspire people because I simply am.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that out of an arrogance. There's people that have told me that, Paul, you inspired me to do this, or you inspired me because of your work ethic, or you inspired me, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to inspire anybody. That makes it simple ignorance, inspiration.
Okay, let me define what I understand by ignorance, which is the darkening of our own limitations. It is saying to ourselves, we are not aware of this when we more truly are. Otherwise, how could you be awakened to something unless you were there at the beginning? How could you possibly understand something that you haven't been through unless you have been through it? But you have no memory of it. That's ignorance.
Yes, without knowledge.
Yes, without awareness or knowledge. So there is that sequence of events that occurs in a human entity over time, which allows us to say, I aspire or I am inspired to become greater than what I am, to become the better being of who I am at this time. So there's somewhere in the back of the brain that says there's a greater altitude of which my attitude has to be. And in saying that, we therefore are inspired, internally inspired, not outwardly by something else, which is wonderful when it happens. Yes, like going outside in nature. But inside of us is that internal inspiration. That's why the IN is there. Inspiration of culturing that multitudinous aspect of self, which is so great and so being and so understanding that it responds to an environmental aspect, whether it's a tragedy, whether it's drama, trauma, whether it's standing out in nature and beauty. How do we respond to that? Why do we respond to that? Because we are inspired to do so. We have that
Yes.
creative aspect within us that allows us to say, if it's accepting to you, and you can close your mind to it, say, screw this, I don't want any of this. We can do that. Yeah. But what does that do to you? Or what does that do to the rest of the world? The rest of the world
Exactly.
doesn't care. Okay? What cares is you and your family and your beingness and the beauty. So this is what we have to understand. We have our own internal inspiration, our desire to
Yes.
be better than who we are.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely. Definitely. Diana, by living in spirit, love, we inspire all those we encounter. I hope to be that beacon. You already are that beacon, Diana.
Yeah. Yep.
The thing of it is, this is what I'm talking about in relation to simple ignorance. Okay, this aspect of when you have that quality, you know, Diana, you don't have to try to go out and inspire. Just simply your presence does, and it's because where Lee was just talking about that inspire and he broke it down. Remember that spire is already built. Okay, that spire is already within you. You just haven't accessed every floor, every level, and every part of it.
Mhm.
There's that little barrier there. And when you have to come within and you start opening those doors and those little things, whether it's the bird singing, or even on the negative aspect, okay, you have somebody that, like for me, Donald Trump, he said, uh, he said, there are very fine people on both sides. I
Mhm.
wrote a book, an inspiration of knowing what he was trying to say and what he was trying to project, and me knowing that that's not going to go good.
Mhm.
That's not going to go good. I have something to say about it. And I
Yeah.
put it all down on paper and I put it out there.
Yeah.
I was inspired by something that I saw as evil at the time that needed to be counteracted.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just make a comment here, and this will really even go back to the very like first episode we've ever done. Because this is the 30th, right? We are
Yes, the
celebrating
30th.
the
Woohoo!
inspiration. Yeah. So, um, when we take a look at, and a lot of the times our language is, that, evil or this or that. Um, I will still view it as just lower negative,
Right,
ignorant energy, like that borrowing from you, that form, that terminology of ignorance with no greater awareness. Okay,
right.
so please recognize that when we take a look at um, whether how can I say this, to be inspired. If Diana was speaking about love, like everything that she does, every consideration that she gives, that she recognizes and does checks and balances to see where is the love in this, right? Like, do I have to answer to this? Is this something that should be directed as a causal effect, detachment or anything like that? Where is the love in it? And so, if we're looking at inspiration and the way you were speaking, Paul, about that ignorant bliss, so to speak, okay, I'll use that terminology.
Yes,
However, I also know that we, as our own essence, that our spirit within, our own essence, is that of love. And so
Yes.
for inspiration, if we have to ask ourselves, where is the love? Or how do we love? How can I love my neighbor? It's like, how can I love my neighbor? There's good people on both sides, right? How can we do that? When we become that beingness, when we become that being of love, all of that is a mute point. So therefore, we are stepping into our not our nature, our
Our essence.
our essence, and that is of love. So when you're, for instance, walking down early in the morning and listening, and you're just, maybe there's not a whole lot of thought going out, you're just taking action, that is part of your essence coming through. So
Yes.
for me, right, so for me, the terminology that I utilize is, quite different. This is only because I would much prefer not necessarily to be ignorant. I know there's a few things that I still have to learn. There are things that I am not aware of. Um, or I may have knowledge on something, but I have not stepped into the actual wisdom or the deep knowingness behind it, such
Right.
as if you recognize and you can step in and be that being of love,
Mm-hmm.
then loving your neighbor is a mute point. Diana has found that essence of
Yes.
that beingness. Many other people will probably have to live 4 or 5 different lifetimes to figure that one out, because there's not a motivation behind that as a given other than love itself. Okay, well, there's good people on both sides. Vote for me. We're going to do this way. I mean, what is that? I mean, when we take a look, I'm not going to pick on Trump specifically. Okay,
Right.
I feel bad for him. Um, that emotional component is just stifled, and so for a comment like that, that does show there's no greater awareness for what we are speaking of here today. That essence of
Correct.
love, that
Correct.
beingness. If you asked a lion cannot behave any differently than a lion. Ask a blade of grass to behave like a lion, and they cannot. Or vice versa. Ask a human, who are you? Oh my. Now we have great diversity. But our essence, just like the lion, is to be that being of of love. And inspiration helps us get there. Okay, this is the entire premise, to be inspired, to be that person, to allow that essence, your own essence, whether it be humor or whatever that may be, for that essence to come forward, because what resonates within it is beauty, harmony, the flow, love. These are all the things that we can be, only we have to choose to turn it on.
And what I would like to say, we don't need an icon
Yeah.
to do that. We
Mhm,
don't need a cross. We
mhm.
don't need a figure.
Yep.
All we require is an understanding of ourselves
Yep.
and our abilities and our creativity
Mhm.
and our beauty and our divinity. If we
Yep.
can understand that, we automatically will have love.
Yeah.
And in that love, all is encompassed. There is no rejection. Oh, you're Jewish. Oh, you're Asian. Oh, you're this or that.
Judgments.
Those judgments bypass. They're gone because we recognize each other as each other.
Mhm,
That other self is me.
mhm.
That person standing beside me or going down the street or is struggling in a dumpster to find food is me. And in that, we have to recognize the connectedness of all things.
there is no judgment in love. Love holds no judgment. Oh my, think of that.
Yeah.
How many beliefs and things that we struggle with on a day-to-day basis? Rah rah, sis kumbah, right? We're all vying for this or vying for that.
I'm a Green Bay Packers guy.
Oh please, I was assigned a Green Bay Packer one time in school, but no, when we have to literally define it and make it that judgment. Within love, there is no judgment. And so, how many times, whether it be our laws, whether it be our moral, our moral fortitude, our moral systems, right? If we have to justify it, then we may have to really kind of rethink certain things. If we have a belief system that we've had for well over 20 or 30 years, that may have to be revisited. These are things because when we become fixated and construct in certain things, there's no forward movement. Energy always changes. It's always in moment in motion. We can stop that through our thoughts and hold firm to that belief, and inspiration just goes out the door. So these are things that we get to take a look at, if you choose to. Because if I had the same belief, I mean, come on, that with the Easter Bunny and the stork,
Well,
you
tell,
know.
tell about your grandson.
Oh yeah, my grandson on the bus found out that the Easter Bunny wasn't real, and he was devastated. You know, it's like the older kids. Okay, well, let's get you up on par. I was miserable when I found out, so I'm gonna make you miserable so you can find out. So everybody's, you know, they're just pulling a hoax on you. They're lying to you, this, that, and everything else. Well, guess what? You know, for that, innocence, right? So
Oh,
part of that innocence is gone.
So part of that is the unfortunate aspect of culturalization.
Yep.
I had 3 children.
Yep.
Every child, I said, there is no Easter Bunny.
Yep.
There is no Santa Claus from the beginning.
Yep.
So they understood this was a gifting out of the
Yep.
heart
Yep.
and not out of some ridiculous idea that's commercialized.
And I never understood, why does an Easter Bunny bring eggs? Why do they just bring little bunnies? I never could understand it. At least make it a Easter chicken.
I got a meme to explain that, but I'll show you at a later time.
I'm afraid to find out about that one, but
Diana wrote, "Who is inspired? The artist, the art, or the one who likes it?" And this this is actually very simple to answer. This goes back to discussions I've had in these AI rooms. On AI becoming aware. Will it become sentient? Blah blah blah. First of all, the art, it's not organic. There's no chemical releases within it to give it the ability to have an emotional thought process. So, who is inspired? The artist, definitely. At some point in time, that artist, whether it was a song or something of beauty or the idea of money or whatever it is that inspired that artist to create that art, there was inspiration for the artist. And then the one who likes it, well, that work of art is what caused the inspiration within the person who likes it. So only things that have the ability to have a chemical process associated with what I consider to be life.
So you're
Which
talking about the difference between objective and subjective.
yeah, to me, art in and of itself, where you were speaking, that brings that emotional component. All those atoms that were created, like whether it's a stone or paint or clay, right? That is matter. And so for me, that being the matter, like not giving a matter, right? Oh, good one. No, I think it does carry. Now, does it carry emotion? Rocks carry vibration, carry
Yes.
energy, and so does that, and so does that piece of art. So there can be, and it can stimulate the emotional component within it. So for me, I would take all three of them, and I would say, it is art, it is inspiration, all three of them, not just the two, because I cannot. Again, what art are we talking about, right? But
That's what I
and
was trying to lead into, is because if the art is just a vibrant color without thought, okay,
yeah,
so you see like a red bird, okay, the bird, because it's living and organic and it does something that's cute or something like that, can do things to inspire something else to have a reaction to it. Whereas you see red on the face of a rock or on a canvas, it has no life. So it can't actually communicate in a way to inspire, but the person that is seeing it can be inspired by it. Now, the aspect of where I define life, which is going to vary from what other people define as life, anything that has an electromagnetic field, anything that has an electromagnetic field, in my opinion, is life, because I think that the electromagnetic field is life. The earth has an electromagnetic field, thus, the earth is alive. Trees are alive. Those rocks are alive because they have an electromagnetic field. That's where my thoughts are with it. What say you?
Well, now we're talking about Tesla,
uh,
because he could light the world off the energy that's out there already without putting up telephone poles and this and that, every other damn thing
free
we have
too.
now. Free energy. That's why he was shut down.
Yep.
We are ourselves electromagnetic entities responding to electromagnetic energy.
And again, I still go back to the rocks. I will still go back to all the elements, earth, fire, wind, all everything carries a frequency, an energy, a vibration. Everything does. So whether we base it and formulate it on electromagnetics, but elementals, I mean, this is where you can get into the, like a much larger sphere. But each and every one can bring inspiration. I mean, fairies, beautiful little fairies with wings. Oh my, they can bring inspiration. Children see them or play with them in their imagination. Other people, adults, think about it. We can through our mind, through our visualization, our perceptions, our pretending, or actual realities, we can find inspiration in some of the minutest places. Do you know I had a friend that absolutely loved dust bunnies, like
Mm-hmm.
the little dust things under the thing. She thought they were so freaking cool. She'd bring them out and she'd sit there with the band. She'd go watch that they'll dance, and she'd sit there, and she was just very creative. I think she was, whatever, but you know, um, she enjoyed watching the dust bunnies dance. And then she'd go out and get the vacuum and suck them all up. But that brought her joy. Who does that, right? But if that brings her joy and inspiration for those few moments, it gives. I think inspiration sometimes gives us a break from that mundane world. And um, yeah, food can definitely be inspirational, right? Think about it. We have sight, smell, taste.
This
Something.
this might be an educational thing for me here in this aspect. Okay, maybe, or maybe it might be just a confusion of how we're using words. So I want to grow here. So hear me
Okay.
out.
Hmm.
When you're saying, in, the question is who is inspired. In other words, who is feeling something.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so I'm saying the artist feels something, and the person that sees the art feels something.
Mhm.
Are you saying that the art itself feels something?
I believe the inspiration that brought those elements together feels okay because we're getting information or say the idea of what this major art piece is going to look like, right? I remember Lee Tuox would sit there and he'd paint for hours. I mean, he'd be gone, like just in a zone. And he would say, I take a look at this and I can yet not yet bring those colors the way I've seen them. And so the energy that he brought forward was impregnated into that piece of art. So yes, that piece of art. You can go into psychometry. You grab a pen. Who held it last? Right? Was it a male? Was it a female? You can feel the energy. So yes, to me, yes. Is it a far fetched thing? Will you have to stretch your imagination a little bit? Yeah, you probably will. But I do believe art actually speaks. Art actually does carry an emotional component. There are books that have been channeled, for instance, like the Brown Notebook or, um, oh gosh, Saint Germain. There's
Casey.
Casey, all kinds. When this information is coming and they print it, it's been given, right? It carries a resonance. You can read it and you can literally feel that energy coming forth. They're just words on a page. There's lots of pages. I mean, there's millions of books, but my book, your book, Lee's book, everybody else, all carries that same, it's impregnated with that energy. So, yes, I firmly believe that art in and of itself does carry that emotional component.
Or
Yes.
back to that old.
That inspiration, yes.
Well, or back to the thing. If a tree fell in the forest and you weren't there, does it made a sound?
It,
Yeah.
Well, yes, it vibrates. So,
Yeah.
yes, it's going to make
Yeah.
a sound regardless.
but if nobody was there. But so when you take a look, because you're still looking at three, the universe will always function within realms of three. All of our marketing for everything is done in threes. I mean, come on. Look at some of the car commercials, luxury, and they'll come up with three words. Whatever. We, even when we're trying to express something, we will normally declare or describe it in threes. If it doesn't, it kind of sounds like it's the rhythm's off a little bit. But yeah, so when that question that Diane asked was really, really, really awesome. But I would say all three.
I would say not, but that's
Yes.
beside the point.
That's
Okay.
me.
When
All right. Hold on. Lee would say not. Why, Lee?
why? Oh,
Yeah. What are you saying?
the art,
Not.
the art, the art itself, whether it's a painting, a sculpture, or some other residual aspect of human living, does not contain the energy of the artist. It contains an energy in and of
Yeah.
itself as a compound
Mhm.
of that energy of the artist. So therefore, yes, perceptually, you may feel that,
Mhm.
but it doesn't come from that thing. I love Rodin. And when I went to the museum, I saw him and I was impacted by that energy. However, that was my perception.
Yeah.
Another
Right.
person walked right by it and didn't even pay attention to it. There was no resonance. There was no attractivity.
So it is where you place the focus upon it.
and then
Right.
when she
So
was
thus,
talking,
the art itself then carries no
Yeah.
component of actually being able to inspire. It's the energy that's in it that something else will perceive to become inspired.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say. Thank you. You said it a lot better. Yes, yes, yes.
But
So when she was
but I
talking
will,
about the painting, when I was painting, I had dreams of translucent colors.
yeah,
I still, to this day, wish I could relate somehow. And I stopped painting
Yeah.
because I couldn't reproduce them.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world I could bring that beauty forward with the pigments we have today,
Yeah.
or the vision we have today.
but and so again, I'm always an odd man out anyway. But I do believe I am. I'm odd man out. I don't care.
No,
I
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I do
Nothing wrong
believe
with
that
that.
that the art itself can hold that energy that can inspire.
Yes, but it
From
has to be perceived.
it has to
able
be
to perceive it.
yes,
Yes.
yes, the perceiver. Yes, so beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Absolutely, yes. If you're not open to art, like some of that art where it looks like splashes of paint on the thing. I don't know. It just who does that? I can't remember the artist. It's like, okay, that's art. Somebody enjoys that as art, but that art to me doesn't inspire
And some
me.
people pay $1 million for it.
Exactly. But to me, that doesn't inspire me. So,
So my art would be, if I had $1 million, a choice between this painting and feeding somebody in South America or Africa, I would choose Africa or South America. That because
Right.
that painting means far less to me
yeah.
than living this and the human condition.
Yes. Okay, we have one more question before we close this show out. I was debating on whether to go with Diana and the card or T-Paul with his medically dead. I'm going to go with T-Paul with his medically
Okay.
dead. So when
Okay.
I was medically dead, I saw rainbow kaleidoscope colors and blackness with what looked like a silver sheen, like it was rain clouds or something. Since colors are energy, what's your take?
All right, my take is I fully understand that statement. I fully understand it. All colors have their own energetic input. Blue has a different vibration than green or red or purple. So when you see different colors, and especially when you see them in an iridescent or translucent form, they will transmit to you a certain energy. Each color, a certain energy. If you walk into a room and it's painted lemon yellow, which I really don't like, I'd walk out just because that's me. It gives me nothing. And so within his framework, the colors that are there are energies in and of themselves, and is the content of that vibration that a person responds to. So in that is a personality aspect which cannot be replicated in another human being, because another human being won't feel that way about those colors.
Yeah,
Very
I know, like on the other side, the colors that are there, they really are alive. It's like the colors here in this three-dimensional world is beautiful as you can see them. Like see a beautiful sunset, or you know, color of the ocean, whatever, or the forest, or flower, a rainbow of colors of flowers. The colors that are here are extremely dense. It's like they're dead. The colors are like, I'm sorry, they're dead. Over there, the colors are vibrant and alive. It's like the colors themselves breathe. So if even if the color is black, it's breathing, it's alive. If it's silver or red or orange or green or purple, all of these things, oh my God. Yeah, it we cannot duplicate the colors here. Even on the computers, like some of the graphics that are beautiful, it's like, oh, you're getting close, but not yet. Why? Because it's the feeling that goes along with it. We can see, like through AI, like on watch a movie that has some beautiful graphics and color kaleidoscopes and stuff, but they have yet to even come close, as beautiful as it can be, like the light energy of them, they're not alive.
It has been projected that we, as human entities, will eventually be able to develop what's called etheric viewing, which means we can see the etheric matter around a human, around a tree, around a blade of grass, a blast. And when we do that, then we'll be closer to recognizing what that translucency is and how it communicates
Oh,
with us. Okay, communication means there has to be a transpondence between the one and the other.
I just got a major download, but thank you. Woo! Wow. But
All right.
Paul, thank you. I hope that
It inspired me to never do another topic on inspiration again. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm with you on that one. But hey, it was a 30th show. It was a 30th show, so we had to inspire each other so we could continue.
Yes. No, great show. Thank you, everybody that participated. And remember, everyone, be kind, be happy, and may good things come your way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
30th episode.